Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy, coming to you yet again from the campus of Portland State University in Oregon. So, a number of weeks ago, while Mrs. Content Guy was still visiting me here, she doesn't spend the entire summer with me here, one of the things we decided to do one day is go out for a bike ride. So, now I've shipped my bike here because I wanted to have my bicycle here because I tend to ride it a lot while I'm in Portland. And, but she didn't have a bike, so we needed to go rent one. So we go down to a bike rental place. Not a problem. They had made a reservation in advance because it can really book up. And it was interesting because there was a couple in front of us that were renting bikes, and they were clearly not from here. And the guy looks at the bicycle shop owner, the manager, and says to him, "Hey, listen, is there a place around here that I can get a cup of coffee?" And I kind of chuckled to myself. Yeah, throw a rock in Portland, you can get a cup of coffee. If I throw a rock in Portland, you get a really great cup of coffee, a really great beer, and really fabulous food. That's just the kind of city this is. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I know where he's going to send him, because Stumptown Coffee, the local place that I go to a lot, was just a couple of blocks away. But instead, he pulled out a map and he pointed out 3 places that were on the east side of the river. We were on the west side of the river. And I was a little surprised by this, places I'd never really heard of. And what was interesting about that, I talked to him afterwards, after the guy had left. I said, I'm just curious. It was fascinating that you've named these places that I'd never heard of before. But why didn't you just send him to Stumptown? And Stumptown's just, a couple blocks away. He goes, Stumptown? I'm not sending him to some corporate store. I don't want to feed some corporation. And I had to laugh about that. I mean, Stumptown has got just a few stores here in Portland. It is a Portland-based company. I mean, yeah, it's grown a little bit. It's got some stores in New York, a couple of other places, but this is about as Portland a company as you can get. From this guy's perspective, they were no longer a local company. They were something much, much bigger. And that was really interesting to me. Now, let's be clear. In Portland, they have a somewhat more radicalized view of what success means and what local means than in other places. I mean, it's funny, here in Portland, they really root for the local guy, but they don't want the local guy to get too successful, to get a little big for their britches. Then they start rooting for the smaller local guy. But it's a really, really good lesson because, I may have thought of them as being local, and I'll bet you the folks at Stumptown think of themselves as being local. But to this person and other people I've talked to since that happened to me, Stumptown is no longer just a local company. Perceptions are really, really important when the perceptions are in the mind of our customers, right? If we have our own perceptions of how things are when we operate businesses. We think of ourselves a certain way, but in the long run, it really doesn't matter how we think of ourselves. What really only matters is how the customer thinks of us. Perception is everything. Points of view are everything. We have to be aware of these points of view. We have to cater to these points of view, and sometimes we have to adjust our own view of ourselves to match how other people are looking at us. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this Thursday morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.